All right, we should be back. Why'd that pop over there? That's weird. There we go. All right, guys, as you're coming back in, sorry about that. Where'd my drive go? Should be good. Guys, let me know. Just if you're coming back in, will you just give me a thumbs up or say something in the chat? Let me know that you guys can hear me. I see Zach. I see you on YouTube here. Thanks, Casey. There's Twitch. I see Twitch is good. Might not load the TikTok chat in here. I don't see any TikTok chatters. Pop that up. TikTok, if you're here, if you'll say something in the chat. I don't think it's bringing both chats in. TikTok's back. All right, I see both of you guys now. Make this a little smaller. Thanks, guys. It wouldn't be my stream if we didn't have things fucking up. Trying to decide. I have to house it at my ex's house. And dog sick. She's going to be gone for Thanksgiving, so I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to drag the PC over there. Probably not. It's probably a bad idea. I'll probably fuck that up somehow. All right. Go here. Let's pull up Hassan now. All right. I just thought this was interesting, and sorry if anybody doesn't like Hassan. I've seen clips of him. I usually like him. I also like the Dungeon of Democracy T-shirt he's got there. It's adorable. Fuentes is going on trigonometry. Interesting. It's interesting what's happening with the right. We're going to get to this later, but like the civil war that Nick Fuentes has caused on the right. And my prediction with him is that once people, I think that Nick Fuentes is good enough at what he's doing that he can hide, especially with the GOP. Like, you can hide the fact that you're a racist. If you just aren't openly doing it now, nobody really gives a fuck what you said before. But once his fans get in the chat with everybody else, and once his fans are also speaking, I think that's going to be a problem for the Groypers. You guys have a guy who's pretty polished at this, and he's pretty good at hiding who you all really are. But once people are exposed to you, they're really not going to like Nick Fuentes anymore. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Fuentes is doing what unserious Groypers do. They create chaos. What that means. All right, here's Hassan.
You said something interesting because, I was born in the Soviet Union.
Oh, I didn't get a sombrero tattoo, Larry, but I did get a new tattoo. Let's see, where's that at? Do I even? It's not flipped. It's hard to see. I'll take a picture and I'll post it. My daughter drew it. It's a little llama that she hand drew.
So we both have direct experience of socialism in various shapes and forms. You talked about, well, there's positives and there's negatives. So is there a country that's done socialism the way that you like?
I would say that... Thanks for the sub. I am hypercritical of all forms of governance, including the American one. I think that's not a...
Hey, he said Trump has embraced socialism. U.S. Steel, NVIDIA. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
A surprise to you guys. Right? And in that same vein, I think like there is critiques to apply to all forms of governance, even socialist ones.
Yeah.
And as far as like getting closer to what I think has been relatively successful, because if ultimately the point of government is to improve the material conditions of all people to the best of your ability, it's not always going to be perfect, but when you are getting, I don't know, the poorest people, the poorest of the dispossessed masses out of a situation where they were servile, the landed gentry, or they were peasants from an agrarian society, or they were dominated by the landlords, but then ultimately they were able to come into modernity and become like a powerhouse, an industrial powerhouse that is competitive with the largest superpower on the planet. I would say if that's the point of good governance, and I think you guys might agree with me on that, I would say China is probably the closest. And there are still plenty of failures within the Chinese system as well, plenty of issues within the Chinese system as well. But that's probably the closest, I would say, to an example that we should follow and lessons that we should learn from. This is something that I talk about quite a bit. Ironically enough, we only utilize some of the most repressive elements of Chinese governance here in the United States of America, especially in the second Trump administration, and none of the good stuff.
It is funny. Like when you talk about China and the things that they've done well, specifically in AI and renewable energy. I was just in Mexico. Like they have BYDs everywhere, and they're better than Teslas. When you talk about the stuff that China does well, the people that are anti-China or the people that are just think that it's like communism versus capitalism, they'll all talk to you about like the police state aspects of China. They'll talk to you about like a big government. They'll talk about the lack of freedoms. And what Hassan says there's pretty accurate. Like we got people walking around now with ICE, and they can just scan your face and figure out anything you want to know about them. Anything you want. All the stuff that you guys talk shit about with China is what Trump does. All the good stuff China does, you're like, no, we don't want that. We don't want the good stuff.
We don't have any high-speed rail. We don't have any even development. There is seemingly
Misfisted Trouble, brother. There's another 5 minute. Amanda, can you do another 5 minutes? I told you, you have to stay on topic. You have to.
nothing to look forward to in America in terms of economic prosperity, in terms of overall health of society, in terms of scientific achievements. And I think a lot of younger people also feel the same way, where they feel like there's nothing to look forward to here. And I'll give you guys an example from the UK. I remember seeing this TikTok of this guy that goes around and is like asking young British.
I'll just tell you something, that when he says young people have nothing to look forward to, I think that like that really is the point. I had a cracked tooth. Well, this tooth right here was cracked, and I've been waiting to go when I went to Mexico because my mom told me that she had a dentist there and the work was cheaper. 2 or 3 years ago, I had a crown put in. A filling from my previous dentist had fallen out, and there just like wasn't enough structure behind the tooth, so I had to do a root canal, take the whole thing out, put in a crown. And I think if I remember right, when all was said and done, I paid something like $3,200 or $3,300, something like it was somewhere right around there. So I went down expecting a crown and a root canal. While I was down there, I went to a dentist. He drilled out and prepared it for the root canal. Then I went to another dentist the next day who performed the root canal, and then I came back for the crown. And it cost me $700 total with all of it. Those are the types of things that like we can't fathom here. There's a lot of Americans who you have the same problem that I have, and they're just like, I can't afford a root canal. What am I going to do about this? I'm just gonna, and then it can get infected. Those infections can lead to your brain. It's a nightmare. We just don't have. And by the way, the most painless dental appointments I've ever had. I'm one of those people that like Novocaine doesn't help me very much. I always, every time I sit down with a dentist, which hasn't been that many times, but I just tell them, give me as much Novocaine as you possibly can. I'm still going to feel all of this. It's still really going to hurt. Somehow I didn't feel anything. And for the root canal, the guy had like a camera that it was aimed at my mouth. I watched the whole thing. There was a screen in front of my face, just like maybe like a 30-inch screen on a TV. And I watched him do the surgery with no pain. None whatsoever. Am I redhead? Redheads have resistance? No, I'm not redheaded, but I do have that same resistance. So I watched it. I didn't feel any pain. And I spent, 5 times less? Crazy.
People, would they serve in the British military? And I am not even remotely nationalistic by any measure. I don't care about those sorts of things. But I think it's important to understand, like, it's a good way to see the temperature of society. And a lot of the young British people were like, no, why would I fight for England?
Yeah. Anyways, good stuff there. Good stuff there by Hassan. I don't know if I always like him or not. I don't know that I've ever seen anything with him that I really thought was terrible, but I liked that. Let's jump into the MAGA infighting here real quick. The spacing here is crazy all of a sudden. Actually, I want to get into the meat of it because I do have a hard cutoff at 1 today, and I started late. So let me actually get to this first. I want to go to this interview with Brett Baer. Brett Baer had on Energy Secretary Chris Wright. And it is alarming what this administration is doing right now in terms of just going on TV and lying about everything. Just every day they go on, they lie about numbers that we all know they're lying about. And they just, I don't know why they continue to do it. It seems like to me when I'm watching this, like they're chipping away at their base slowly but surely. Like people that can do math are like, all right, I can't be lied to every single day. I can't, not Hoodie. I know you like being lied to. Somebody told you were cute once, and you're like, I love that. But every day, here's an example with Chris Wright.
And for people now, you know, if you look at the latest energy inflation data, this is September inflation data, you know, you can see energy going up, electricity going up, gasoline a little bit down, gas service.
Now, how many Republicans have you seen in the last day tell you that energy prices are down? They're not. And this gasoline price, I saw Fox News was celebrating it. They're like, gas prices are down. They were 1 cent lower. But how many times do you hear them every day say, like, all these costs are down? They're clearly not down. Even Fox is just like, we can't just lie every day.
A little bit down, gas service up. And if you look at the average gas price, these are two different things to look at, but steady from 1 year ago, it's about roughly the same, $3.07, $3.06. Yes. I guess my question is, will people feel a different energy cost into the new year, quarter one, quarter two, do you think?
It's such a softball. Hey, please don't lie to me. Please don't be like all your other people and come on here and lie. I'm going to show you the data first so that you don't lie. Here's the softball. Can you tell me why it's going to get better? Because clearly right now it's not better. Can you tell me why it's going to be better?
You'll soon see a stop in the rise of electricity prices. We're going to achieve that, I think, hopefully in the first half of 2026, the stop of the rises. But during the Trump
I want to know how. Are they ever going to tell us how? One of the tricks that they're really, really good at is they just keep telling you that things will get better. And then anytime a price drops, like the Walmart Thanksgiving thing, they just take credit for it, like they did something. That's the beauty of this administration. They don't have any plans. They just wait until there's like some good news, and then they take credit for it. But how are you going to do this, Chris Wright? Why would the costs all of a sudden drop? The only real chance, like looking at the trajectory we're on now, the only way for these prices to drop is for Americans to use energy less, to like drive down the demand. I guess if more people are unemployed, if more people die, I guess if you can deport millions and millions of people. But I don't understand why they think other than prices at the beginning of the like Q1 energy prices or gas prices are usually lower than like Q2 and Q3 because people aren't moving around as much. We live in cold climates. People aren't driving. They're not going on vacation. Their kids don't have baseball practice. But you know they're not going on weekend trips. So the demand usually goes down. I'm assuming that's what they're going to say. They're just going to look at these prices and they're going to claim that they're stabilized. And then in Q2, Q3, they'll just pretend it's not happening.
Administration, you will see a downward trend before the administration's over, a downward trend in the price of electricity in most all states that are open to building new infrastructure, that are building data centers, that are building power plants, that are building pipelines. We will see overall a downward national trend in the price of electricity.
Why? So I want to look at some of these numbers. Chris Wright, I was going to play a bunch of clips, but I'm just going to do the fact check instead. He is maybe one of the most consistently wrong people you'll ever see. This was from climatepower.us. Just some of the things that Chris Wright has been wrong on. So this was from September of this year, but during an interview with CNN, U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright doubled down on Trump's claim that renewable energy sources are a con job and a scam. Somebody in the chat just barely said, yeah, if we invested in wind and solar renewable energy, we could drive prices down, but we're not. We're doing the opposite of that. We're pulling away subsidies. It's like an all-out war on solar and on wind. Right's wrong. Clean energy is the cheapest, quickest form of energy to add to the grid, and Trump's war on clean energy is hiking costs across the country. Household electric bills are up 10% nationally since Trump took office and are poised to spike even further. So here's the facts. According to the June 2025 report, unsubsidized utility-scale solar and offshore wind remain the most cost-effective forms of new build energy generation. I'll drop this in the Discord. You can see here all these blue. Those are all the links. You can go check. You can go fact check that yourself. In contrast, the cost of building a new combined cycle gas turbine has reached a 10-year high. On top of building the turbine, right? Like in terms of just like the structure itself, it's more expensive to build gas, but then it's more expensive to maintain because last I checked, you don't have to pay for the sun. Yeah, Hoodie, I agree with you. Solar and wind doesn't carry the load, but it's not more expensive. It's not more expensive. States that have experienced the largest increases in wind and solar generation have not seen electricity rates grow faster than the average, with several leaders in clean energy growth seeing residential electricity costs rise more slowly than inflation. You can look at California, Arizona, Nevada, and you can look at when they started investing in residential solar, and you can see that the rise in energy costs for those with solar leveled out. And the rise, the more people get solar in all of these states, the more you can see a flattening of the rise. Now, it's still rising because energy costs are rising. But my cost to get solar has not gone up because it's zero. So you can times the cost of acquisition for my solar energy as many times as you want by whatever number you want. 0 times anything is 0. I will never have to pay for that energy production. Fact, natural gas price volatility is a large driver of electricity price spikes. The states most reliant on natural gas for electricity had the highest rate of retail price increases since 2020. Repealing clean energy tax credits will increase every American's energy bills. Energy Innovation found that the One Big Beautiful Bill would raise household energy costs by $170 per year by 2035. And look, they're ahead of schedule there. Shout out to Donald Trump. He's even with his own bills. He's such a great worker. And he's so effective that we're going to get there before 2025. Globally, wind power is 53% cheaper than the lowest cost fossil fuel resources. According to a study from Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, residential solar installations would save U.S. homes an average of over $1,900 on energy bills per year. By the end of 2026, the U.S. is expected to more than double its utility-scale battery storage, reaching nearly 65 gigawatts. Battery storage is also cheap. Costs drop by nearly 20% in 2024. So naturally, at knowing all of this, Donald Trump chose an oil lobbyist to run the energy department. And he's just like, all of these cheap renewable energies, those are all a problem. On top of that, let's have dirty air, let's have high prices, and now we're rolling back protections for all of us, for the things that go in our food, which is not pleasing the MAHA movement.
The EPA is starting to allow the use of pesticides containing PFAS on food.
Give it up. Give it up to the MAGA agenda. Fuck your bodies. You got to have those forever chemicals in your food. How are you going to survive without forever chemicals in your food?
It's part of an effort to roll back the regulation of what are called forever chemicals because they don't break down easily in the environment. Last week, the agency approved the use of 2 new pesticides that qualify as PFAS.
I want to show you something. The EPA, just to stop it here, EPA rolls back these regulations. They approved 2 new pesticides. Do you think they showed their work? Do you think we can fact check them right now? Would you be surprised to know that they have not shown their work on this?
It means that farmers could spread them on crops like romaine lettuce, broccoli, and potatoes. The Washington Post is reporting that agency plans to approve 4 more pesticides. Not much is known about their long-term impact, but PFAS have been linked to certain cancers, birth defects, and other health problems. In a statement to the NewsHour today, the EPA said it will provide transparent, science-based information on how the chemicals are evaluated.
We'll tell you later, guys. And it'll be science-based. Don't worry about it. This is what happens when you take lobbyists from these chemical producers and you put them in charge of the EPA. Now they say things like they're like an agriculture lobbyist, but the agriculture lobbies are funded by these pesticide and fertilizer companies. They just use tricky words. They're making you more sick, and they're charging you more to die. Not only do they want you more sick, they think they need to fund themselves getting more sick. This is an awesome administration you guys have here. And they can kind of do it because Trump doesn't give a fuck. Like, this stuff doesn't move the needle for him. They're not going to talk about this much on Fox News, so he's probably not even going to find out about any of this stuff. He's just letting them do it. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in RFK's office. Like, hey, dude, you know those forever chemicals and the PFAS you guys been talking about? Yeah, we're just going to do more of that now. All right. Moving on to, is it right here? Chuck Grassley's tweeting on his own. And you know Chuck Grassley's tweeting on his own because of this is Anna R. Matson, what she said. I've covered this before, but if you ever want to know if Chuck Grassley is writing his tweets, they look like this. He just stops using vowels. It doesn't make a great deal of sense. And when it's his staff, it's laid out, it's spelled correctly. Chuck Grassley is 375 years old, and here he is really upset that RFK hired Callie Means, who doesn't want forever chemicals in our food.
Thank God I saw this before his team tried to go delete it. So Senator Chuck Grassley just posted this, and I believe that he posted it himself, and typically their teams post for them. Typically when their teams post for them, it's very polished, and this is just not. So he said Secretary RFK Jr. hired Callie Means to advise him. Callie is crusading to stop pesticide use in ag. RFK promised not to advise on farming. He better not follow Callie on pesticides. Few things here. First of all, does he not know that RFK Jr. is the attorney that won the famous case against Roundup for proving that it causes cancer? And second,
No, but did you know that Chuck Grassley fought for the North? Fun fact.
That he's Secretary of Health and Human Services, and if pesticides are causing negative health effects, he should probably say that. But I wanted to know why Chuck Grassley got so triggered over this. And honestly, it didn't take long to find out. He makes over $500,000 from agribusiness, which is really the chemical industry, and over $700,000 from the healthcare industry that profits off of us being sick.
I heard he chose sides with the coin toss. That's what it was.
So I went over to see who his corporate donors are, and shocker, Dow Chemical. And Dow Chemical makes pesticides. And mind you, this is not a partisan issue. Most people want us to stop being poisoned. When farmers use pesticides, it doesn't just poison them, it poisons all of us because it gets in the food supply, it gets in the soil, and it gets into...
Another fun fact, somebody said Chuck Grassley was on the Mayflower. Fun fact, he wanted to call Plymouth Rock that big-ass rock.
Our water. And yes, there needs to be accountability there. The fact that Chuck Grassley is freaking out so much makes me believe that our outrage is working. So keep it up and get even louder. We want accountability. We want healthy regulations around pesticides. But as always, let me know your thoughts about this and make sure you're following me for more.
All right. So the infighting
Thank God I
continues.
saw
With the MAGA folks, the ones that don't want to have corporations murder us versus the ones who want corporations to murder us. It's a tough one. But on top of that, this is a weird video. This is a rancher who is very frustrated with this administration. And I want to criticize him a little bit, but I do think it's fair. I don't think Trump knows anything that's going on with any of with agriculture. I think he has no fucking clue. I don't think he cares. I think he just trusts people to do whatever. But it is really funny to watch people who have voted for Trump. Every time there's something now that's coming up, like all these farmers who are losing their farms, they'll do anything but blame Trump. So they create these videos and they're like, this administration sucks. And they're like, Trump, I hope you see this because there's no way you would allow this to happen. You would never abandon us farmers. But the beef farmers are now pissed too because Trump's just selling them out.
I'm a supporter of President Donald Trump. Voted for him in this election and the last and the one prior to that. However, President Trump is about to allow JBS, the world's most corrupt beef organization, to become publicly traded in America. President Donald Trump will be the president that allows for the complete destruction of the small, independent family farms and cattle ranches if he allows this to go through. The SEC has already approved it. Now we're just waiting a mere few days for them to allow it on the stock exchange. And what's concerning is we haven't heard a word from the secretary.
Bro, just go suck Nick Fuentes off. Mute Misfisted the rest of the time. I'm tired of you jacking off Nick. Just go fuck him, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. You're muted the rest of the life. I've tried with you too many times today.
Of agriculture about this. We haven't heard any of the large cattle organizations that represent cattlemen speak out about this. They claim to represent cattlemen. The truth is they only represent the big guys. They're bought and paid for by the same organizations, JBS, Cargill, Tyson, National Beef, all the collusion that's happening. Go do a very simple search and you'll see the millions and millions and tens upon millions of dollars that these companies have been ordered to pay for collusion and price fixing, which has cost us our family farms and ranches. And what that costs us as the people who aren't family farms and ranches is a stable food system. As much as I'm a supporter of many of the other things that Trump is doing.
This is just real simple, right? These massive corporations, factory farmers, they take investment money and they say, like, this is what we're increasing our production by this much every year. Here's what we're projecting going forward. And there's a bunch of people who invest in them and expect a return on that investment. How do you get a return on an investment with cheap meat? You have to buy out everybody else, and then you raise the price. You have to kill your competition first, and then you raise the price. And that's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the time right now where foods like, I don't remember the names, but like Tyson Foods, where I lived, grew up in Utah, they went and they wound up buying like everything. They bought all the chicken farms and all the turkey farms. And then they came in, they undercut with the pricing. And as soon as they get rid of everybody, they just raise the price because they got to pay back those investors. And those investors that stay invested, they're counting on those dividends every single year. And you guys just sit back and watch him do this. You just watch, like, we are slowly becoming such a fucking mess. And it's not even one of those oligarchies where like they're doing good things. It's just everybody doing whatever they can to strip every dollar out of Americans' pockets and giving you the shittiest returns you could possibly get. You're going to have dyed beef. You're going to have a beef with a bunch of chemicals in it and steroids. You're going to ruin rural America. And when these farms go out, it's not just the farms that go down, right? It's the other businesses in those areas that go down. It was the local person that maybe provided fertilizer at one point, but now they've all sold out. It's the local repairman for tractors. John Deere got word of that, and John Deere's like, you know what? We're not going to let people work on our tractors anymore. From now on, if you want a part from us, if you want to replace something, you have to get it from John Deere, and if you want it repaired, you have to use a John Deere repairman. This is why I hate capitalism. I fucking hate it because it just incentivizes people to make decisions based solely on how much wealth can we accumulate.
Anything else in the world that we're working to accomplish and achieve doesn't matter when you have famine and you starve to death. So, Mr. President, I love you. I appreciate you. It is our job as citizens to hold you accountable. And
I did see that. You guys are saying 3D printer chicken. You obviously saw that Campbell's video of the Campbell's executive saying, our food is for poor people. I'm not eating 3D printed chicken.
Whatever you've got in your circle, they ain't speaking truth because you're about to put us in a whole world of hurt. Folks, I need you to share this. This is urgent. We've only got a mere few days, and we need millions of people to put pressure to stop this, or it's going to be it'll be a much harder fight to come back from. Thanks, everybody. Shake the hand to feed you.
Let me see if I can find that Campbell's one. I'll show you what we're talking about. I didn't have it on the outline. I saw it like 5 minutes before we went live. I don't know how old it is, but let's see. Hey, Jen.
Have you checked our DMs? I don't know if you read some of the super chats.
I will right after that. Right after this. Pull this up. Let me see if I can find this. Here it is.
Some explosive allegations about one of its top executives.
Thanks for the sub.
Good evening and thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Ty Steele.
I'm Kimberly Gill. Those allegations are now at the center of a lawsuit claiming the company's vice president went on an hour-long tirade attacking the company's products and employees before taking aim at its customers.
And the former employee recorded it all. Eric Erickson shares that recording and what the company is saying about it.
We have shit for poor people. Who buys our shit?
And that's just part of an over an hour-long rant, says former security analyst for Campbell's, Robert Garza of Monroe.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's not healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it, look at meat, bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer. You?
The recording allegedly of Campbell's.
That's the one. They know what they're doing to you too. They just don't fucking care. They can afford to get farm raised beef for their family. They're doing fine. They just don't care if you get sick. That's some shit Tony Ravioli would say. That is some shit Tony would say. Amy said Tyson closing in Lincoln, Nebraska, 11K in the town. 1 in 3 residents worked at Tyson. Jesus Christ. Ryan said, dudes, that was hardcore withdrawal from RTP. Welcome back. Thanks, Ryan. Mr. Global has a video on Venezuelan oil. He said it will not be good. Their oil is the most expensive to refine, so there won't be a huge U.S. investment. Amy, will you DM that to me? I'll add it to the show tomorrow. Sully said, happy birthday, brother. Thanks, Sully. Appreciate you. All right. Moving on. I think I checked there. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. We do have a gift goal every single day. If you could help us knock that out, it's greatly appreciated. You can see the different ways that you can contribute to that, including super chats and some gifting on TikTok. We can't really figure out how to add that up. But anything you do to help us pay our bills, we'd be greatly appreciated. On to the next story, if I can find it. Son of a bitch. What time is it? 11:15. I want to get into this.
VP and Chief Information Security Officer Martin.
I want to get into I lied earlier. I said that there was nothing I listened to this weekend, and that's not true. I'm a big fan of Pablo Torre. He's an investigative journalist. I've played some of his stuff when he uncovered the way that the Los Angeles Clippers were paying Kawhi Leonard. But now he has set his sights on a new criminal, or I don't know, criminal, a new shady deal. And he's pointing the finger at Riley Gaines. Now, if you guys don't remember Riley Gaines was a swimmer. She swam for the University of Kentucky. She was a good swimmer, good enough that she made it to nationals. She was one of the top swimmers in the country, and she tied for 5th with Leah Thomas, who for 3 years had competed as a male swimmer at, I think, Penn. Is it Penn? And then when COVID happened, she took 2 years off, and then she was able to compete as a woman because there was a rule with the NCAA that as long as you had been on, I don't know what you call it, but whatever the hormone replacement therapy that like suppresses testosterone, you have to be on that for 2 years, and then you can compete with the women. Riley Gaines took that 5th place tie and turned it into a whole fucking career. And Pablo Torre did a whole expose on it. I think it's like an hour and a half. It is HRT. Thank you. But this was about 3 minutes of it, kind of explaining the crux of what he was getting to, which is that the right does this thing where they find somebody who thinks they're a victim, or they find somebody who they think that they can prop up to share a story so that they can accomplish their agenda. And that person was Riley Gaines.
So Riley Gaines, like me, is in fact a podcaster, but she is also not just that. She is working for Fox News as a frequent contributor.
Riley Gaines joins us now.
Riley Gaines joins us right now with reaction.
Riley Gaines, she's America's #1 feminist as far as I'm concerned.
An ambassador at the Independent Women's Forum, Riley Gaines. Riley, good morning.
Remember when our Secretary of Defense was just a dipshit on Fox News, but now he's a dipshit that leads the military? I miss Fox News dipshit.
Morning, thanks for being here.
Riley Gaines is with us. Riley, how are you?
She's a political figure. She's a speaker on college campuses at Turning Point USA, formerly hired as a contributor. This ever-expanding resume. How enriching is it?
I hear that on this podcast you like tax forms. On page 45 of a filing from Harris County Republicans in Texas, this past June, $25,000.
But that's not all, by the way, because Riley Gaines also got a job as a spokesperson at the Independent Women's Forum in 2022, which helped her get directly involved in politics. Riley Gaines has now testified or appeared with politicians in at least 21 states by our count so far.
I feel frustrated.
She's the only, as far as I know, she is the only fifth place finisher in any NCAA event who has endorsed 27 politicians.
I feel betrayed. I feel heartbroken. I feel demoralized that we have to be here.
And on top of that, there was the grand opening in 2023 now of the Riley Gaines Center, a center which was founded at something called the Leadership Institute, which turns out to be a conservative nonprofit that has been recruiting and training right-wing activists for like 50 years. The mission of the Riley Gaines Center was very specific. It was to recruit other student athletes who had been, quote, harmed by zealots of transgender ideology.
Part of her job working for the Leadership Institute here is to go give out with the Leadership Institute logo on.
They went from fuck your participation trophies to we're handing out participation trophies, and we're going to pay her $150,000 a year to hand out participation trophies.
Them to other girls and women who reject trans women in sports. Mini-me's of Riley Gaines, essentially.
And according to their tax forms, Riley Gaines, director of the Riley Gaines Center, pocketed $126,523 within just 5 months of her center's founding, raising this larger question of who exactly was funding this center named after a 23-year-old.
By going and pulling tax forms for other powerful conservative foundations, I was able to find one of these funders.
Thing is somebody, who was that? Williams, it looks like a fake charity to you. It's not a fake charity. It's just billionaires that fund this. And they'll get to that. But like, this is how important it is for these billionaires to win these culture wars. And when you win this culture war, it allows you to focus on this shit instead of what they're doing. There's a reason for this. I really don't believe that these people who fund this give a fuck about any of it. They just know that if they continue to fund these culture wars, people will become obsessed with it, and it's all they'll talk about. See, it's impossible to talk about like the economy when you have Riley Gaines on Fox News every day talking about how your children are in danger.
And this one is the Dick and Betsy DeVos Family Foundation.
Betsy DeVos, of course, Donald Trump's first-term education secretary, who was also part of a very...
The audio's cutting in and out? How's the video? Is the video staying with it? Is this only on YouTube? Give me a thumbs up if the audio is fine for you. I want to it's fine on Twitch. Twitch is it's always I don't know why anybody isn't just on Twitch. It's always good on Twitch. Sounds good to you guys? Okay. If it's cutting in and out for you, I don't know what to say. Sounds like most places it's working.
Well-connected family, which is also why I can very safely declare that the family that owns the Orlando Magic are also the DeVos's, and also some of the many dollars behind the Riley Gaines Center.
And you can see on their tax form, Leadership Institute, $100,000 in 2023.
The main character, the star of the anti-trans athlete movement, this avatar for the MAGA Republican effort, you're saying that that person, Riley Gaines, happens to be funded by billionaire NBA owners.
The Riley Gaines Center definitely was.
Cool. Andrew said, nice to have you two back. Hope you had a great break. Happy Thanksgiving. Fuck Trump and the rest of his administration. Thank you. Thank you for that. So Riley Gaines, I highly recommend watching this
Riley
whole thing
Gaines,
because there's a lot more to this story. Specifically what was I guess, eye-opening to me is they go back and they cover Riley Gaines at the time when this actually happened. And Riley Gaines was really sympathetic to Leah Thomas. She was like, look, I have sympathy. Obviously, she's in a scenario that we're not in. We just have to find a way that this stuff is fair. They had friends that they interviewed. Only one went on the record with their name, but their friends were like, this just isn't who she was. One of her friends tells a story. Her friend was gay. They were going to North Carolina, I think, for maybe like a team retreat. And so it was like a 4-hour drive, and it was just her and Riley Gaines driving. And Riley Gaines, she said, was like, I come from a conservative family, but I'm not MAGA. I don't like how angry and how disrespectful MAGA is to the LGBTQ community. And then these people with money got a hold of her, and now suddenly she's under attack. One of the other things that was a bit alarming from Riley Gaines is that there were 2 predators in Riley Gaines on Riley Gaines' team, the coach and the assistant coach. And neither one of them are allowed to coach anymore. And Riley doesn't talk about that. There were multiple accusations of forcible rape and inappropriate contact by both of her coaches. In her book, she says that her coach was her best friend. Now, she has since come out, once it all came out, and she said, this is easy, I can condemn this. But ironically, Leah Thomas posed no threat to her safety, but her coach did. But that doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't pay the bills to point at who's the problem every single time. It's usually just some white dude. It's almost never a trans person. It's like ironically, the people who were the biggest threat to her, she's like, oh, I denounce them, but I'm going to keep telling everybody else that the real threat to us was Leah Thomas, who there's no evidence has ever hurt anybody. She just beat somebody in a race. But the coaches, and how many times have we seen this? Olympic coaches, college coaches. Jim Jordan, for fuck's sakes, helped cover up sexual abuse. It's always just some white dude. But you can't do that. You can't go on an all-out attack on white dudes because, Jesus Christ. To talk to anybody who holds TikTok live saying it's all men, see what happens. See how white dudes feel about being accused. So for you white dudes out here, if you're not all rapists, if you're not all a threat to women, then you got to stop doing this same shit to trans people. Leah Thomas hurt nobody. She beat Riley Gaines in a race, and that's it. And if that bothers you, that's fine. I get that. I do think that like trans people playing in sports, like it does add a layer of things that you have to do to make sure that the sport is still fair. And I don't know enough about Leah Thomas or the testing that they did to say, was it actually fair or was it actually not fair? I'm 100% comfortable with sports organizations making sure that you don't have people just like subverting the rules, or even if somebody is transitioning, you don't just let them come in and win on day one. I get all of that. These are all real arguments that people inside of sports need to have the discussion about, but I don't believe that any of you give a fuck about women's sports. Trump at one point was like, he brought up Riley Gaines on a stage, and he's like, I was watching that race and I couldn't believe it. No, the fuck you weren't, Donald Trump. You were not watching this race in, I think it was like 2018. You weren't. But it's lucrative. It is alarming how much money, and that's going to be kind of the theme of the rest of the show today, the amount of money you can make as a person on the right if you just figure out a group of people that you hate and you spend all of your time trying to convince other Republicans to hate them, as long as that group of people isn't Christian or white men. Any other group, you're free to marginalize, you're free to take the actions of one person and apply it to the whole group. Just not white men. Not Christian white men, not Christian pastors, none of that. But you can do it about anybody else. Now, Riley's response to this report, which again, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I would just say, like, go watch it. I think it's like an hour and a half, and it's really, I just thought eye-opening. She went on Twitter and said, I love when there's a baseless hit piece about me, but I'm so consumed in our perfect baby that I didn't even notice. Apparently she had a baby. Congratulations, Riley Gaines. And I don't know if that's Charlie Kirk, not her husband. So congratulations on your baby. Apparently it got you enough that you did notice. It's also not a hit piece. it just shows who's paying you. It showed how at one point you weren't this transphobic, and now your entire identity is transphobia. Her immigrant husband, by the way. Oh, that's right. She had to do something to keep him here, right? 6-month investigation for that to find out I have a job that pays me. Groundbreaking discovery, truly. When you know you're on the right side of history, the smears don't matter. Try harder. It wasn't even a smear. It just showed that, like, how rich people, specifically right-wing rich people, will pay you to be a bigot. She missed that whole thing. It's not even a hit piece. Nobody has disputed anything from Pablo Torre's investigation. But I do think even if you're on the right, that should alarm you. That somebody can go from just a seemingly regular person to an advocate to a bigot when they see dollar signs. And also, why the fuck are you guys propping up Riley Gaines? She sucks at this. She's terrible on TV. She's terrible on podcasts. She's not well-spoken. You guys are just using her because of her experience. You can't get her to do that for free. She can't do it for $1,000. It's got to be $100,000 speaking fees because she's blonde. It certainly helps. Certainly helps. One of the things that was also... yeah, that's what it is. Her coach, she said, like in her book, called her loft. And she didn't know what that meant. Her coach like negged the fuck out of her. This lady is deep in the patriarchy, but her coach, in order to motivate her, would call her loft, which is lack of fucking talent. So that's what got, and she credits that coach, the person who overlooked sexual abuse and then was accused himself. She's like, he's so great. He told me I have no fucking talent. He would monitor their weight. He would monitor their body fat. He would tell people not to eat. He was just an all around like dirtbag. She's just a product of the patriarchy, but she's benefiting from it now. So I do kind of see, like, for her, she's like, all you have to do is be tough and then it works out for you. Unless you're not a swimmer. What if she wouldn't have lost to a trans person? Nobody would know who she is. Do you see money, RTP? Is that why you lie all the time? No, I don't see very much money, but you can send it. Feel free to let me know what the lies are. That's great. We always like to be factual here. So if you have something that we got wrong, you're welcome to message me. You can drop it in the chat. We're happy to correct anything we get wrong on this show. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to say that earlier. Peter said, missed you last week. Happy birthday. Thank you, Peter, very much. Appreciate that. All right, moving on. So then Clay Travis, who actually it's on the same one. Clay Travis jumps in, and oh no, that's not the right one. Hold on. Do you guys know Clay Travis? He was like a sports commentator, but like couldn't keep his bigotry in check. So then he just he does sports and politics now. So this is embarrassing, Pablo. Your big investigation uncovered that Riley Gaines is paid to share her story and that being forced to compete against a man in an NCAA swimming championship changed her perspective on trans issues. Pablo said we interviewed several former teammates of Riley Gaines on the University of Kentucky swim team. And when it comes to Riley's messaging about trans athletes as predatory men and sexual assault, there's an important story that they want you to know. And the story they want you to know is this is not who Riley Gaines was. She became this person when she saw dollar signs. And then Pablo Torre also added this, which I thought was brilliant. He said, hey, Clay, you forgot something. Read the Predators in women's sports. Here's what Riley's former UK teammate and friend told us about her head coach, Lars Jorgensen. This was awesome. So this is her teammate. I forgot the teammate's name. She might be the one that didn't give her name, but here's what she has to say about Riley Gaines now.
Just the sheer interaction in the locker room between Leah Thomas and Riley Gaines. I do want to fact check that.
I did talk to swimmers who competed at the NCAAs, two of whom say they changed with Leah there in the locker room. One of the swimmers who I talked to agreed to go on tape on the condition that we modulate her voice.
We're all very comfortable being naked. People don't usually cover themselves with towels to change or like go in bathroom stalls or anything like that.
Thanks, Frankie.
But any of the times I would see her in there, she's like wrapped in her towel. She's turned around, not facing anyone.
And then Riley Gaines is on with none other than Tucker Carlson.
I have such an amazing support system at the University of Kentucky. whether that be from the athletic director all the way down to my head coach, Lars Jorgensen.
The Predator, Lars Jorgensen, the Predator, Leah Thomas, not the Predator, just a faster swimmer. Lars Jorgensen, an actual threat to these swimmers.
But just speaking for them, it's just totally wrong.
There's the name check of Coach Lars as part of this amazing support system that she is describing.
We have fully turned the corner here from this is about fairness in women's sports to actually starting to allege that this is a kind of sexual assault.
And then we're in the Simone Biles news cycle. In all of those podcasts, those multiple Fox News appearances where she was...
One thing to also add here is like the people that have been telling us that trans people are a danger to our children are the people who are pretending that Donald Trump hasn't been covering up the Epstein files forever. The same people who now will be like, he said release him, as if he had a choice. As if like, I don't know how some of you MAGA folks do this, but Donald Trump covers it up forever, and Mike Johnson. And then when Republicans go on the record and they're like, we're going to vote for this, it's going to be released, then he's like, we should release it. I've been saying it all along. And then you go with that quote. I am so like, I'm more nervous about Republicans being around my kids and my community, the MAGA Republicans, than anybody. Because I think that if somebody were to abuse my kid and they happen to be on your side of the aisle, I think that you would cover it up. But if my kid had a trans friend, you would freak the fuck out and you would scream at me all day long that my child's friend was a threat to them. You guys are so far beyond like fucked when it comes to your morals and your values. I don't think that you actually have any. I think that it's just bigotry is number one, and you all pretend that it's not, which is an alarm. It's alarming to watch that just like in real time, to watch you guys ignore actual abuse all day long and still trying to convince us that it's trans people. Just tell me, where are all these attacks from trans people? But every time I see one of these transphobes online, they're like, look at this. It's another man in a woman's bathroom. And it's a man. It's a white guy in a women's bathroom. And they're like, see? It's like, yeah, that was another fucking white guy. It's like saying, look, there's another, look at this. There's a bear in the women's bathroom. We better not have trans people in here. Just a generic white guy is not a trans person. Every time. It's a claim. It just turns out to be a white guy. Straight white Christian man. Every time.
Comparing Larry Nassar's sexual abuse to her experience in the locker room with Leah Thomas.
That's right. Leah, they tied. Thank you. Appreciate that.
She's very clear, it seems. That quote,
What me and my teammates had to go through was certainly sexual abuse. Again,
That was on Stephen A. Smith's podcast.
And I do want to say.
Now, what she's saying is that Leah Thomas being in the locker room with them was sexual abuse. Donald Trump walked into dressing rooms all the fucking time. She's not once accused Donald Trump. And it's not like a story. He said it. His words. If you can go look at, I put out a TikTok today in preparation for this. She loves that sexual abuser. She loves that guy who was held liable for sexual abuse. Is that what it was? I think it's sexual abuse is the correct term for that. She'll go and she'll campaign with Jim Jordan all day long. She'll be in pictures with Matt Gaetz all day long. But the fact that Leah Thomas happened to be in the same locker room as her, she's saying that is sexual abuse. Which, if that is your stance, if that's what you believe, then how the fuck are you MAGA? How are you a Trump fan? Oh, well, it didn't happen to me. Oh, well, I'm getting paid for this.
The voice that you should be listening to on how this all feels to hold these ideas simultaneously is not mine, it's not Stephen A's, and it's not yours, Madison.
Right.
It does seem like this is why, in fact, you made sure to talk to her actual teammates.
When I wear my UK swimming gear, I've had 3 times where somebody's approached me and asked me about Riley Gaines. And I've said, well, do you know about Lars Jorgensen?
Yes.
And the answer is...
Write it down. Everybody should write this down right now. That if anybody ever says the name Riley Gaines, ask, do you know the name Lars Jorgensen?
And the answer is always no. And she says, quote, "It's hard for me to care about Riley Gaines tying for 5th when my swim coach is accused of raping my teammates." And people shut up pretty quickly after that.
And I just cannot help but remember that this is the coach.
I mean, I could even give Riley Gaines a little bit more credit if she ever fucking brought this up. When she's going around and she's talking about the dangers of trans people competing against you, if she said, and also maybe we don't have white dudes have access to us like this. Maybe we don't have grown men have access to our bodies like this. Maybe we don't have white dudes coach us anymore. If she's just going to apply that logic across the board, it would be one thing if she did that. I'd still probably disagree with it because I don't like painting with that broad of a brush. But the one person that was actually a problem for all of them, she credits in her book as an inspiration and, quote, "one of my best friends." Where's the advocacy there? Why is she not going around to college campuses, speaking to college athletes and saying, even if it's your coach, report it? I went to the University of Kentucky where I was a victim of sexual abuse. Oh, because your coach, Lars Jorgensen? No, actually, just because a trans person existed in a locker room with me one fucking time. Once. They weren't in the same conference. Leah Thomas swam at Penn, which is Ivy League. She swam at Kentucky, which is the SEC. They only met at the national championships. In fact, part of the reporting is like their teammates talking about, well, they were watching Leah Thomas's time saying, are we going to swim against Leah Thomas at nationals? So one time she was in a locker room with a trans person, and that's her whole fucking identity now. But not the actual predator there that was raping her teammates.
That Riley Gaines called one of her best friends.
One of my best friends.
In her best-selling memoir that came out in May of 2024. And look, I get that this book was probably on the way back from the printer by then because the lawsuit, this was all filed in April of 2024. But when we come to this question of who are the men we are concerned about in sports who have been abusive, allegedly, and predatory, allegedly, in these spaces that we should be worried about when it comes to our daughters.
No, Penny, they weren't on the same team. They swam against each other one time. And they were in the locker room one time. And by the way, the other teammates said that Leah Thomas was off in a corner by herself and stayed, she kept a towel on the whole time. So Riley Gaines' claim that she was sexually abused by Leah Thomas was that Leah Thomas was there and had a towel on over in the corner.
Girls are female athletes. What has Riley Gaines said about Coach Lars and these allegations?
I found one tweet from a few days after the allegations became public.
Let's read that. I took the weekend to spend time with current and former University of Kentucky teammates after seeing the article and lawsuit that dropped. I took time away from being paid to scream about trans people to be with my teammates. The general consensus is that we are disgusted, heartbroken, and ashamed to be affiliated with a program where anything like this could be alleged to have happened. Lars was someone I trusted, loved, and respected. I have gone to bat for him and defended him until the end. I feel entirely blind. By the way, this is the same guy that called her loft, lack of fucking talent, and consistently told her teammates that they were too fat. I feel entirely blindsided and betrayed. To be extra clear here, I never saw or heard any of these claims taking place, but it isn't difficult to say I vehemently condemn all violence, especially sexual violence against women. While I spend most of my time speaking to the harm and severity of allowing men into women's sports, we can't neglect or condone other issues that are far too common in female athletics, like sexual abuse from authority figures. It's my mission to defend women, really humanity, and this falls in line. Time to process and digest is necessary for healing to occur. Regardless of the allegations, my stance is clear. Sexual predators should not be able to obtain or maintain a position of authority over anyone, much less a team of vulnerable, half-naked young women. What about President of the United fucking States? How about that? You said sexual predators should not be able to obtain or maintain a position of authority over anyone. Wait, unless it's the president or unless it's a congressman. Then it's fine. Unless it's a Supreme Court nominee. That's fine too. All of these things are fine. She sucks so much more. Like, I already didn't like her. She's one of those people, the more you learn, you're just like, oh, you really suck. Like, I knew you sucked, but holy shit, do you suck.
What has she said about Coach Lars since then?
I mean, just 2 months ago on another podcast, she referred to him as a fantastic coach. There's been really very, very little.
And I just felt this, almost like this emptiness, right? There wasn't a lot of satisfaction in doing what I did. I had great friends. I had a fantastic
Boy, that's going to give me a seizure.
coach.
All right. Cool. Adrian said, long-time listener, first-time donator. Thanks, Adrian. Amy Lynn said, did you see when the location of accounts was turned on for Twitter? What happened? Department of Homeland Security page originates from Israel, and most large creators on the right from other countries. I did see that. The DHS one, I do think that some of that stuff could have been, I don't know. I haven't checked. Does anybody know? Could any of that stuff be because of a VPN? RTP, you're missing the bigger reason, unless it's a Republican. Yeah. Well, no, a Republican woman. I think Riley Gaines would turn on a Republican woman if she was a predator. I really do. That, like, it is the most patriarchal organization. Like, if the dude at Beetlejuice was telling Lauren Boebert no, and he came out and he's like, I told her no, she would have turned on Lauren Boebert. She'll turn on Nancy Mace. She certainly will turn on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think it's unless it's a Republican men, Oslo. I'm with you almost all the way. And don't play dress up and compete with your own kind. Wait, what? Her coach wasn't playing dress up. He was coaching women and he was raping them. What are you talking about? This is what I'm telling you about these Republicans. Like, we just played this whole story is about how her coach raped people. And your takeaway was, don't play dress up and compete with your own kind. Do you think Riley Gaines was
just
almost like this empty?
Was the trans person here? What the fuck are you even talking about? Did you miss that whole story? So transphobic? Like, we've been doing this for 10 minutes now. Brandon. Come back, Brandon. Come on, Brandon. Explain that to me. Explain to me how you just heard a story of a coach raping his athletes and you said, don't be trans. Yeah, I see you're still doing transphobia. I get it, Brandon, but we're asking very specific questions here. Guys, don't respond to Brandon for a second. We're going to have Brandon talk to me. Brandon, I need you to help me understand why you just watched that and you thought that the problem with all of that is that somebody was trans. If Leah Thomas had never swam against Riley Gaines, two things would be true. One, you wouldn't know who Riley Gaines is, and two, that coach still would have raped his students.
Brandon might have been timed out.
Okay. There you go, Brandon. Enjoy your timeout. Thank you. All right. This leads me to the infighting on the right. And we've said this was going to happen, and it will happen. They are going to eat themselves. The thing about building an entire movement off of othering people is that there's never any end to the amount of division. You're always going to be able to other people. Look at like conservative Zionists. If you told Zionists 4 years ago that not only would the entire DNC hate them, but a majority of the Republican Party would hate them, they would be like, what? No, we're on the same team. They will continue. Somebody said the leopards. Yeah. The leopards eating their spots. That's what we have now. You have Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, like on the Zionist army. Then you have the Groypers and the Tucker Carlsons. And then you got some people like trying to play middle ground, like Patrick Bet-David. And there's just never anything they won't stop fighting about because that's who they are. Every famous, sorry, what did I say? Spots? The leopard's eating my face. Every one of these people that you guys have elevated in MAGA mostly got there by othering people. And so if they face criticism, the only thing they really know to do is to lash out and play identity politics. And that's what we're going to see for the next little bit. First is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh still wondering if he's racist. Matt Walsh, yes, you are racist. I hope he figured that out after he made that video. Here's Matt Walsh with such a cool logo. how cool that logo is.
And some prominent figures.
Look at this fish back here. I haven't paid attention. What is this, fucking home improvement? By the way, we have candles like that. That looks like a Printify candle. I don't know what his is called. It's probably like foreskin man flannel or something. Ours is called I think it's the soy beta soy candle. I think is what it is. Soy. It is a soy candle, I believe. Look at this. He got a fucking canoe bookcase paddles. What is this? Mallard? He is trying so hard. I am manly. All right, here's Matt.
At the moment, for whatever reason, some prominent figures who claim to
This is only coming out my right earphone, so if you don't hear it, just switch headphones or play it on speaker.
be on the right are actually training their fire on the people who are protesting the Muslim takeover of Dearborn rather than Muslim foreigners themselves.
What he's upset there, I don't know if you guys caught this story. This was a cool one. So there was this group of people, we played their clip before and then I left, but there was this group of Republicans, Trump people, that were going to Dearborn, and they're like, we're going to protest, or not necessarily protest, but we're going to go there and we're going to be like proud to be Americans. And we all saw that and we're like, no, the fuck you're not. We've watched you do this with Patriot Front. You guys are going to instigate. Turns out, if you thought like me, you were wrong. And this group of like MAGA Christians went to Dearborn, and they just went and peacefully protested. And the people of Dearborn came out and peacefully protested with them. And then like some right-wing provocateurs came in. And they're the ones that, I forget his name. I don't even want to show that clip because it was horrendous. But he yelled at the city council and he was like, you guys will never be better than us. You guys are breeding. We don't want you breeding with each other. You're out breeding us. Islam is what did he say? I think he said it was a cancer. And this group that had went there to protest, they were on Fox News. They're like, look, we don't have a problem with the Muslims here. They're just like us. We just have a different religion. They can protest. We can protest. They can advocate for their beliefs. We can advocate for their beliefs. But this guy that's yelling at the city council is a fucking piece of shit. And we don't want to be associated with them. What's up, Jen?
Hey, thanks. I want to thank Gus Tex Broadcast for the raid on Twitch.
Oh, thank you, Gus Tex Broadcast. I'm not getting the notifications, so thank you. So Matt Walsh, after seeing that, naturally gets upset that not everybody sided with the psychos that went to the city council. So now he's upset that those MAGA people were friendly with the Muslims and called out the dipshit who was screaming at the city council.
Are protesting the Muslim takeover of Dearborn rather than Muslim foreigners themselves. So here's what Jake Shields wrote, for example, in response to a video of one of Lang's protests, quote.
Now, Jake Shields is a rabid anti-Semite. He's a former UFC fighter. He's full of CTE and bigotry. It's basically all that he runs on. But he really fucking hates Jewish people. And so the anti-Semites are now like kind of siding with the Muslim community, because what they're really afraid of is the Jewish people. See the problem we have here? You got some of the people that like Jewish people but hate Muslims. You got some of the people that hate Jewish people but are kind of indifferent to Muslims. And eventually, Jake Shields will hate Muslims. Eventually, like they'll boil it down and he'll hate Muslims too. But Matt Walsh can't figure out why they're hating anybody. Like you're supposed to hate everybody but white Christians. So Matt Walsh is upset at Jake Shields because Jake Shields is supposed to hate Muslims, but he hates Jews instead.
Muslims don't hate Christians, so I'm not sure what the point of this is. Do this in Brooklyn in a mostly Jewish community. So I guess the idea is that in order to dunk on the...
No, I don't think Jake Shields was a J6er. You're thinking of the other guy. Jake Lang is who you're thinking of. Jake Shields was a MMA fighter.
Jewish communities. We're supposed to forget about the fact that Muslims have been killing Christians for 1,400 years.
Christians have been killing Muslims for 1,400 years. Yeah, they've been warring with each other. So yeah, you can forget about that because they've been fighting against each other.
Muslims don't hate Christians? What in the world are you babbling about?
A lot of Muslims don't hate Christians. Just the ones that are like you. There are radical Muslims that are like you, radical Christian nationalists, who hate people because of their beliefs. And yes, there are Muslims who hate Christians. And I think they're just as big pieces of shit as you are, Matt Walsh. I see them as the same. I see them exactly the same. Like, I don't know why people, like, I guess Christians get duped by this, but if you hate somebody because of their identity and their religion, you're a piece of shit. And I don't care what religion you are and what religion you hate, you're just a piece of shit there. See how confusing this is for conservatives right now?
They're killing Christians across the world right now as we speak.
Christians are killing Muslims across the world as we speak.
Particularly in Nigeria, as we discussed a few weeks ago. Every year, Muslims are executing.
Which was like mostly not happening. Just like now they say that like anytime Christian people get killed, that it must be because they're Christian.
Thousands of Christians because of their faith. Meanwhile, Islamic.
Yeah, I have looked at Europe lately, Samuel Gross, and let me give you some advice. Let me give you a little piece of advice here, Samuel Gross. Stop being indoctrinated by TikTok videos and Twitter videos. Look at the data. Go look at the you know who is abusing kids at a higher rate in Europe? Do you think it's white people or do you think it's Muslim people? It's white people. But you're not advocating that they all be gone. Yes, there are radical sects. There are groups of Muslim people who abuse people. That's true. There's also groups of Christians who abuse people. Stop putting people in a bucket. It's embarrassing how easy it is to get you guys to be whipped into a hysteria. Do you know how fucking stupid, like honestly, you have to be fucking stupid to be racist. It's like you have to decide, like, I'm not going to look at data. I'm going to let my feelings dictate fucking everything. And I'm going to go online and I'm like, you could go online and you could watch 50 videos of some Muslim abusing a white person in Europe. And you're like, oh, it must be a problem. Well, if I Google Christian pastor arrested for abusing children, I'm going to find 300 fucking articles, including Donald Trump's spiritual advisor. Stop being stupid. Don't let yourself fall into that trap. You are angry about fucking nothing. And your dumbass friends on the internet that hype you up and think that this isn't really something, just go get the data. Go look at the data and tell me if it really is a problem. What's crazy about all these countries, I just told you I got back from Mexico. My brother's girlfriend is from Australia. And she was telling me how there's this weird thing happening in Australia right now where there's like a MAGA movement. But they literally say, make America great again in Australia. And you know what they want? You know what they're afraid of? Not Muslims. Indians. They say Indians are taking over our country. They're replacing us. And they're coming here and they're violent. And what's their evidence? They'll show a mugshot of an Indian man who abused a child. And they're like, see what they're doing? It's in every country, and it is on purpose. It is extremely, extremely fucking lucrative. If you look at the people who are making money right now, the people that make the most money politically, it's all of these hate mongers who are trying to convince you that there are groups of brown people coming to replace you. And they get you so worked up that you give them money. And you think that all of that stuff is really happening. Now, never mind the fact that in your real life, none of this shit is happening, is it? You don't have a roving gangs of Muslims coming and beating the fuck out of you, right? Like, that never has happened to you. In fact, you've never seen it in person, but you have seen it online. And so you just assume, do you know why they did what they did? No. Could it possibly be because they hate white Christians? Sure. It certainly could. Do you know that those videos are from the places that they say they're from? No, you don't. There is a movement to do this, and it's led, by the way, by Steve Bannon. There's a dark, very lucrative movement, and what it's getting you to do, what their plan is they want you to think that the world is irredeemable, and they want you to hand over your rights to a strong man. That's been Steve Bannon's goal forever, to end democracy and usher us into fascism. A very racist form of fascism. By the way, best buds with Epstein. Have you guys denounced Steve Bannon yet? Any of you guys denounced Steve Bannon yet? No? We're still listening to Steve Bannon over there? I'm just for all the groypers, for all the you young men out there, I'm just telling you, it's not what you think it is. And if there's any part of you that isn't just a reactionary little emotional bitch, don't take my word for it. Just go look at the data. Go look at crime everywhere. And go look at, like, are crime rates rising? Are there actually, like, massive gangs that are coming into these countries and taking over? Just go look at it, please. If you are informed by videos on the internet, you will be easily led astray. Fact check everything that you see. These people want your money, but more importantly, they want control. And all these guys that, like, this male empowerment shit, why do you think he has this set built this way? Why do you think it looks like this? Because he wants you to think, like, I'm in a cabin in the woods. I'm a man's man. We stand up for women. I'm not afraid of anything. It's all of these people are actors. And when I say actors, I mean, like, they are all failed actors who didn't make it. And then they just went into, like, right-wing content creation. And they've learned, just like Candace Owens has learned, that if you are extremely hyperbolic and you give your audience a common enemy, that they will come back every day, especially if you can scare them. And they all do it the same way. I'm just asking questions. Look at this video. Look at this video. I'll show you 10 videos. Now, do you really think that this isn't a problem? What kind of crazy person would tell you this isn't a problem? And then a week later, a month later, 6 months later, suddenly you hate Muslims. Suddenly you hate Jews. Suddenly you hate gay people. Suddenly you're saying things like black fatigue. And you all say the same things too. The programming is so obvious to those that aren't in it. It's very obvious to me because I see all of you come in here every single day and you all say the same fucking things, word for word. Y'all say the same names. Y'all point to the same video. You point to the same stats. You say the same country. You're the most programmed people we know. We can guess what you're going to say. And I'm just telling you, young men, figure it the fuck out. This shit that you think is happening just simply is not happening. There's not black and brown people trying to kill you. But if you keep going down the road that you're going, you may create a world where, like, black and brown and white people can't exist together. That's not a better world. We've had that world before. It's not better.
The countries are also flooding our country with immigrants who hate us and who openly threaten us at city council meetings.
There was just a Christian openly threatening the Somalis in Dearborn. And he is mad that people didn't stand up and celebrate that. Yes, I'm sure there's people threatening. Are you can't, you just have to be better than following this shit. It's lazy. Look, what's he? Nothing. He's not reading anything. He's not giving you any stats. He's just telling you, hey guys, you need to be scared. Hey guys, they're coming to get you. Hey guys, you're under attack. Sign up for my membership program, which is a reminder, we have memberships available on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, and you can sign up for those as well. And then you can watch movies with us like Newsies, where everybody makes fun of me together, and we don't even try and scare you.
But we're supposed to believe that Muslims have no hatred for Christians whatsoever? Even though that statement defies over a millennium of human experience? After I challenged...
It's the same guy that's like, we had the Civil Rights Act, so nobody's racist anymore. And then if you're like, well, what about like systemic racism? No, it's over. It all ended. We had the Civil Rights Act. It's all over now. But if it comes to scaring his audience into following him and clicking and paying his membership, yeah, then it doesn't matter.
Shields publicly, he responded by claiming that Christians have killed far more Muslims than the other way around, which isn't true. And then he pivoted again to like, well, we need to talk about Jews. That's all he wants to talk about.
The reason that he says that number is not true, that Christians have killed more Muslims, is because he doesn't count when America kills Muslims. He doesn't count that as like Christian killings. But anytime a Christian dies at the hands of somebody who is Muslim or lives in a Muslim country, he says that's because they hate Christians. If you've ever seen him debate this, that's what he does. Oh, no, none of those count. None of the times that we kill Muslims count. But every time a Muslim kills a white Christian, it's because they're Christian.
And as I told him on X, that, this is just full-on anti-Christian propaganda, something straight from the left-wing Reddit fever swamps.
Yeah, that's what the last... Reddit is just like groypers. You're huge on Reddit, Matt Walsh.
Talking points that are totally indistinguishable from the far left. An effort to distract conservatives from doing what needs to be done, which is taking back our national sovereignty. And we can't fall for it. I mean, there are some people ostensibly on the right for whom...
You realize he's just saying the whites have to take back our country, right? It's just what he just said. That talking about things, I would assume he's referencing Fuentes there when he says like where it's indistinguishable, because Fuentes said something like the left needs to abandon immigration and the right needs to abandon capital or free markets. That was a shot at Fuentes, and he's like, but it's distracting us from the fact that we need to have this country run by whites. That's what he just said. You want to hear it again?
Anti-Christian propaganda, something straight from the left-wing Reddit fever swamps. Talking points that are totally indistinguishable from the far left. An effort to distract conservatives from doing what needs to be done, which is taking back our national sovereignty.
Now, if you take that clip, you're like, oh, no, he's talking about conservatives. But we just had a minute and a half of him talking about brown people and Muslims. He's just saying, we got to take it back, whites.
And we can't fall for it. I mean, there are some people ostensibly on the right for whom, hating Israel is literally the only issue that matters, the only one. They would happily let our country succumb to a
shout out groypers
third world invasion if it meant we would have more people here who don't like Israel. So Israel first from the other direction, as I pointed out many times. Now, in any case, the time...
Now, real quick, out of curiosity, for me, Matt Walsh, why doesn't it bother you that Israel is the most powerful lobby? Why doesn't it bother you that Israel is clearly pulling the strings? How's that national sovereignty? They're not Muslim, they're not brown. Got it.
Time for a national federal response to this invasion is long overdue. But there hasn't been one. And therefore this week, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, decided to take action on his own. He designated CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood as foreign terrorist organizations.
There we go. All right, let me go here now to Tim Pool. Tim Pool's having the same problem. Tim Pool had on Ryan New.
At the moment, for whatever.
I think it's Nihas. I don't know how you say this. Nehaus. Is that Nihas? Ryan Nihas, I think, is from not Cato Institute. What's the other one that I always forget about? It's not Claremont Institute. This is if you don't pay attention to politics, and even I do, this is pretty hard to track. But I'm Nihas, thank you. I'm showing it in hopes that I can reach some of you. That the right is all identity politics all the time. And now there's certain groups that aren't included in the identities. And you're going to see Niehaus from the Claremont Institute now arguing with Tim Pool. I don't even know what Tim Pool's arguing here, honestly. I think he's trying to defend Fuentes. It's hard to follow. But what you're going to see here is 2 minutes and 43 seconds of them talking about how everybody on their side is racist and bigoted, and we need to pick which racist bigots are the best racist bigots.
You've referenced singular quotes from Nick.
Good point, William. Always remind Tim Pool was paid to do propaganda by Russia.
That he said. And then when it came to the issue of Dave Rubin, you argued in the extreme of he have to go out and advocate and proselytize this particular thing.
That's what Nick's doing.
Nick
is proselytizing.
Nick has.
I've never.
How many times has
they all proselytize? The truth about the right is it's all proselytizing. I used to proselytize. I was a Mormon missionary. That's what this is. You find somebody's feelings, you find something that means something to them, and you tell them that you have the solution for that, and the solution for that is to believe you and to follow you and follow these teachings, these steps, and then everything will be fine. They're all proselytizing. By the way, the thing they're talking about with Dave Rubin that he's proselytizing is Dave Rubin is a gay man on the right who got a surrogate to have their child, maybe twins. I don't remember if they had 2 children or 1. And he's upset. Niehaus is upset that Dave Rubin was allowed to adopt a child. So just so we're clear on what we're talking about here, he's accusing Fuentes of proselytizing people into Nazis. And Tim Pool's like, well, Dave Rubin said that gay people should be allowed to have children. That's what this argument is.
He praised Hitler.
I've never once seen
How many times did he praise
Dave
Hitler?
Rubin go on a show and say, we need more surrogacy.
How many
it should
times
be
did he praise
legal,
Hitler?
More gay adoptions. I've never seen him do that.
How many times has Nick praised Hitler?
I don't know.
Exactly. And Dave has promoted surrogacy.
At least.
Exactly. If you don't know the exact amount of times that Nick Fuentes has praised Hitler, you cannot talk about this. It's like watching Millie debate. She does the same thing. When she doesn't have anything, she just like asks you a quiz question that you don't know the answer to. And you say, I don't know. They go, see, I win.
Once.
Indeed. And Dave has at least once promoted surrogacy. So what is the
you
moral
really think Nick Fuentes has only praised Hitler once?
And I don't think,
really think
and I don't think Dave has only posted about surrogacy once.
I've only seen
the point is, I believe your morals are fake. You are
all morals are fake. You can just make them up. Just because some people have the same morals doesn't mean that they're all not just made up.
I genuinely do. This is the frustration that I have in my voice is not because I'm passionate about one way or the other, or whether
you're
Nick
bringing
did or
up
did
easy
not.
examples like Dave Rubin and
easy examples, because the point is,
let's talk about
in
Trump.
trying to understand where your moral lines are. I will talk entirely.
Look at what Trump promoted on his reality shows and Playboy magazine.
I'm not a
all this
Christian.
Stuff. Okay, I am.
Indeed.
And Christians overwhelmingly voted for Trump.
And I think
Not
your
because-
aversion to Nick Fuentes is based on some clips you've seen for which you are largely ignorant of his larger message, and you've ascribed him this.
I don't know if you would need to see, like, if somebody praised Hitler or said, like, when I'm 30, I want a 16-year-old as a bride because I want to be able to train them. I don't want, I want somebody that I'm attracted to. Like, I only need to see that one time to be like, I'm not a fan of that person. And Nick Fuentes absolutely said that. By the way, where's the Groypers at? Raise your hand, Groypers. We love pedos. I am convinced most of your search history is rough. But like you guys are all uniting behind an actual, like, he is an incel. He's involuntarily celibate, but he also has talked about, like, the age of consent being lower and fine, and he does love Hitler, and he does use the N-word in openly and regularly. He is racist, so I don't know how. Like, you can watch Nick Fuentes, you can see 4 Nick Fuentes clips, and you know who he is. Like, I don't need a bunch of nuance when somebody says that.
Position as an evil nihilist without watching anything he said.
Nick is advocating for it.
For what? For what specifically?
It is not something that he's.
For what specifically?
Who he is in his personal
What has he
life.
advocated for? Are you going to mention the singular quote from just the other day where he said "unite with the left"? Let's talk about before that, because you've been anti-Nick for a while.
Yeah.
Do you see what the Hitler stuff? Not a big deal to Tim. The underage bride thing, not a big deal. Uniting with the left, that's the thing that they're upset about. How could he? How could he say unite with the left? That is a cancelable offense. It's not the other shit Nick Fuentes did. It's that he said you might want to unite with the left.
What has he said that you are against and believe he is a nihilist for all these reasons?
Why are you challenging me on Nick Fuentes? We're all agreed on this. Like we've all seen.
Because I don't think you have an answer.
He says.
Like what?
Yeah, he's advocated for child brides.
Here's the real answer why they're arguing about Nick Fuentes, because Nick Fuentes is taking their audience. Like, the incels love Nick Fuentes. The racists love Nick Fuentes. And all these people had an audience that were full of racists, but these guys were, like, covert about their racism, and Nick isn't. And so he's taking their audience. That's why they're all talking about Nick. So now what they're doing is they're softening his message. They're saying, like, you know what? We want that audience back. So, and their audience you saw earlier, whoever that Groyper was in here, like, they think he can do no wrong. So they're just shifting alt-right. Like, hey, Nick said some things I don't agree with, but I really need that audience back. So we're now going to go down this. We're going to say that the only problem we really have with Nick is that he said we should unite with the left.
He's advocated for, he's questioned the Holocaust. He's said Hitler is really cool. He's talked about how we need to deport all the Jews and all the Browns and all the blacks. He is. I mean, I don't watch his show. I've just seen
the point that I was making is that exactly your view of Nick Fuentes.
Seen enough. I've seen enough. Like, why is this so hard?
Well, Donald Trump also called Nazis fine people.
We're obvious.
Donald Trump called Nazis fine people.
No, he didn't.
Oh, wait, hold on. Because we analyzed further to look at the full context of his messages.
You think that the media?
Well, he didn't say Nazis were fine people. He said there were very fine people on the left and then on the Nazi side. Is what he said. So there were some good Nazis there. Is what he said.
He is treating
and
Nick
Kathy
Fuentes
Newman
unfairly the way they treated Donald Trump unfairly.
I think they're treating. I think they are treating Nick unfairly for sure.
Oh, come on.
His Spotify podcast got banned.
Donald Trump.
You want to make an argument about what he believes? Make an argument. The argument we're having right now is that Nick shouldn't be allowed to be interviewed by Tucker Carlson, and Tucker is at fault for having talked to him.
Oh no,
yeah, I'm here for this. The infighting will implode. I think maybe that's why Donald Trump was so happy to be around Mamdani, because he's just like a genuine person. It's like the only person Trump's been around that isn't either just like blatantly sucking his dick with their eyes closed or just a complete phony. And he was around like a regular, normal human being. And he was like, oh, I remember what this feels like. Yeah, cry about the Nazi being banned. I don't know, he still might not be on. He still might not be on Spotify. I don't know. Thanks, love covers all things. Jamar said, I know you said radical sex, but now I want to have radical sex. Welcome back, Jay. Amy said, child abuse from any group is bad, period. Sandra, good to see you. Said, missed you last week. Hope you enjoyed your vacation. Now I'm on vacation this week. Good for you. I did enjoy it. Riley, D. Freezy said, Riley Gaines should be sending an edible arrangement to Leah Thomas every year on her birthday. If she was a millisecond faster than Leah, no one would know who she is. Speaking of, happy belated brother. Thank you, D. Freezy. I don't think I missed any of those. We got about 45 minutes left. I do have a hard cutoff today. I'll update the gift goal there, but if you could help us knock that out by the end, that would be greatly appreciated. We are coming back after a week off, and we don't get paid when we're not live, so we got bills to pay, and Jen does have a taser that she pays somebody to come get me with about once a week when we don't hit the gift goal. So, hey, Jen.
Yeah, it was tougher to get to you when you were in Mexico, but so you've got a couple that I think you're due for. But
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's fun when Jay's gone on vacation and I get a message from him. Hey, can you find this picture for me? I'm way too drunk to find it myself, kind of a thing. So that's fun.
Happened a few times.
Yeah, just once or twice.
Thank you.
But just want to, like you mentioned, we've got about 35 minutes or so left. So with everybody here, if we all sent $1, join the Dollar Train, we could knock out that gift goal quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Oof.
So we had to pull that out of the jokes. You know what? Cottage cheese really isn't cheese. It just occurred to me.
Thank you. All right, just a little more. This one, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just showing you this because he can't stop riding the L carousel, and I think he's a bitch. People are figuring out Andrew Wilson. They're figuring out how to debate him, which is that you have to just like flip his logic right back on him. Andrew Wilson's a piece of shit, and he's a complete fraud and a phony, and he makes a lot of money doing the same thing that all these other incels do, where they tell you that brown and black people are the root of all your problems, and that if we just get rid of them, then everything will go well. And he was at DebateCon, which, by the way, I did get invited to. I said, no, thank you. And he was, I don't know who this guy he's debating is. I believe he is Muslim. And Andrew tries to play like the Christian tough guy thing, and it gets flipped on him. And I just like this because, once again, they've been accusing us of identity politics forever, which isn't true. We just think that no matter your identity, you should have rights, and they call that identity politics, but they play identity politics. And I'm just going to be honest. I am going to cherish every moment as I watch these people crash and burn with infighting. Here's Andrew getting dunked on by whoever this Muslim gentleman is.
And you think that these people could ever attack the West? That's a laughable prospect. He has 10 million Jews in his backyard. They can't do shit about it. Nothing. 1 billion versus 10 million. They can't do anything because of the IQ difference in these regions.
You want to talk about?
Yeah, it's just the Christian whites are just too smart. He's talking about, I think, Muslim countries constantly being bombed and attacked by Israel and its proxies, and saying that they can't do anything about it because they're too stupid. And then this reverse card is unbelievable.
These regions.
You want to talk about Israelis dominating Palestinians because of low IQ? Guess what? Which race actually has a representative that controls every member of Congress, like a handler, like an AIPAC handler? What race are the AIPAC handlers that are controlling Congress? What race are they? Are they white Christians? Actually, Andrew, because it seems like 300 million Christians can't take care of just maybe a handful, 10 million of that one particular race that has a death grip over your country. Maybe address that, Andrew, the elephant in the room, and then tell me about IQ. The other point that I want to make is that, do I have to spell it out? Yes. Yeah, they're called Jews. They're called Jews, Andrew. And there are only 10 million of them. There are 10 million of them, but
they control your whole region?
They seem to have, yeah, the thing about Israel is that they're able to dupe dumb Christians to support wars that are going to bankrupt America and cause America to really collapse, so that they will have wars in the Middle East killing Muslim brown people, because you Christians apparently, by your argument, Andrew, are too stupid to realize that they're being destroyed by this one particular group. Gee, that's really high. That's really brilliant, Andrew.
He's had a rough go the last couple of weeks. I don't remember the name of
you think that these people,
that girl that pointed out that Andrew says that women who are married previously or have children in a previous marriage, no man wants a woman who's been, in his words, run through every one of these guys. I don't know why all these guys that are like 40 just want like some 16-year-old virgin. That's the thing that they actually claim about Muslims when they attack Muhammad, is they're like that he was after younger girls. But that seems to be what they all want too. I don't know, maybe they're just like jealous of Muhammad. I have no idea, but that smirk, was that of defeat? Yeah. And so the story there is that his wife has been married 3 times, maybe 2 times, and that she has kids from another marriage. No problem. I got no problem with that. I don't think that says anything about his wife. I think the only criticism I would have as his wife is that she married Andrew Wilson, which sucks. Jen has it, so I guess we'll play it.
I will never be able to.
You'll see actually a theme here, and I liked that debater caught it. Andrew he did it when I debated him too. And just to force you to play by a set of rules that rig a game in his favor. And when people don't play his game, he's like, you're too stupid to understand it, which is what he was just doing there, saying like, oh, Muslims are just too dumb. We're all just smart. And his audience is like, I'm like you, Andrew. I'm also smart. So when Andrew gets stuck and he can't win a debate or get past a point, he just says, I'd explain it, but you're too stupid. I've never seen him in a debate where he doesn't do that. And if you haven't seen this, you're welcome.
Convince you of my worldview.
You won't.
I know. But the reason is not because I'm not a great orator, or I don't make good points, or I haven't said things which should be compelling to a person. But Charlie, I just think
it's not me, it's you. It's just you guys. I'm actually a fucking genius. It's you.
Honestly, you're too fucking stupid to understand them.
Your wife has 3 baby daddies and has been married twice before.
And you
you
lick sniz.
Under your religion.
You lick sniz.
What does that
You're
mean?
a fucking dyke.
What a psycho. Do you see how easily he snaps when you challenge his ego just a little bit? The thing about Andrew is that he has a very fragile ego, but he's also a pussy. And that's one of the things I like. He got on into it on stage with Bradley Martin one time, where he tried to call Bradley Martin stupid. And Bradley Martin is stupid, but Bradley Martin could also beat, I think it was Bradley Martin, might have been the other guy. But whoever it was could also beat the shit out of him. And he kept yelling at Andrew to take his shirt off, and Andrew just slunk. Sniz is slang for
you're a fucking dyke.
Vagina, because
religion.
she's gay.
You lick sniz.
What does that
You're
mean?
a fucking dyke. Don't talk shit about my wife, you stupid bitch. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your stupid bitch mouth.
Your wife with the 3 baby
What did I
daddies?
just say? Dyke?
Your wife with the 3
Sorry,
baby
I'm sorry,
daddies?
Dyke. Is she morally inconsequential in comparison
Guys,
to...
women are too emotional. Do you see her? Look at her. Freaking the fuck out, yelling slurs. Women are too emotional. We have to have people who are in control of their emotions who you can trust, like Andrew Wilson. who keep it together no matter what happens, even if it's just a small slight, to point out that he's a complete and total fucking hypocrite because he demeans women who have children outside of marriage or from other marriages. But yeah, we can't. No more women. They're too emotional.
You're ditch licking.
Do the men that you try to...
Do the women that you try
show
to...
your hatred against...
He didn't even know. This is my favorite part because he is completely snapped here.
Consequential in
He
comparison
doesn't even
to-
know what she's saying. He just starts repeating everything she says. This is an absolute fucking meltdown. And by the way, I don't have the rest of this, but he winds up calling his wife and putting her on the phone to have a chat with this young lady. He needed his wife for backup.
You're ditch licking.
Do the men that you try to...
Do the women that you try
show
to...
your hatred
Do
against...
you the women
they,
that you try
convince them
to...
that they shouldn't...
You know,
like,
Charlie, did I
pursue
bring...
women? Do they know
Charlie,
that
did
your
I bring
wife
your
is 5
family...
years older?
Did I bring any of your
You
family
called me
into
fucking
anything?
stupid.
Did I
You
say
called
anything
me
about
fucking
your
stupid.
family being stupid, Charlie?
You could.
In all fairness, she didn't say anything bad about his wife. She doesn't mind. She doesn't care that somebody has like baby daddies from other marriages. She doesn't judge people for that. He does. That was my favorite part about this whole thing. She actually didn't say anything mean. He just is thinking, oh no, my audience hates this. She's explaining about my wife what my audience fucking hates. And so he just snapped. Because he really is just a thin-skinned bitch. If you remember, if you watched the debate we had, he held it together pretty well, despite not offering any like economic argument. But the only time I got under his skin was when I brought up that people that watch him watch me, and that people that had watched him that watch me had reached out to me and said he's kind of an idiot, and he says a lot of dumb shit. And he went to the bathroom and he came back. And he jumped. He's like, nobody would do that. Nobody would ever watch my show and watch your show. I was like, Jesus Christ. He is a thin-skinned little bitch. Fuck that guy. And he'll crash too. Like his career will wind up just being off in the corner of the internet, screaming about women. There will always be men who hate women that he can grift off of. And that's the whole thing. But I don't know. The women seem too emotional for me. We can't have that. We need strong, assertive, non-emotional types like Andrew Wilson, who lost brain cells. All right. Let me check these real quick. Thanks, Jen, for that. Appreciate it. Johnny, thank you. Johnny's back with the balls. Thanks, Johnny. I'm Fred said, thanks. Lee said, glad you're back. We need you to incite all of the craziness. Oh, we need your insight into all the craziness. Thanks for all you and Jen do. Sorry, the writing's really small. And we're happy they're both back. Thank you, MT Clark. Chelsea, thank you. Pink, thank you. Said happy belated birthday. Good to have me back. It's good to be back. I did miss some of you. Patricia, thank you for joining the Dollar Train, as well as Corey. And Denise, I appreciate that. You did request $1 from me instead of sending it. You may want to do that. Or maybe I just owe you $1. I'm not sure, but you may want to check that. All right. I wanted to show this just I did not know Eric Swalwell was the odds-on favorite to be governor of California next. I saw that this morning. I had no idea. I wondered why he was doing town halls. I didn't even know. Is he officially announced that he's running for governor? Anybody know? He is? He's announced? Okay. I didn't know that. I somehow missed that. This woman's name, I forget. I don't remember if I have it here. Tish Hyman, which is fine. She asked Eric Swalwell a question, and I hope that Eric Swalwell gets some better people on his team, because I thought he had an opportunity here to knock this out of the park. And I'm not necessarily being critical of Eric, like he's standing on business, but I do think that there is a problem with some of these politicians who, especially on sensitive issues like trans people competing in sports, they don't seem to have good answers, and the answers aren't that difficult. So that's why I want to show this and see if we could come up with some like a different answer that might have worked here. Now, this woman is an activist. I don't remember what her story is. She's going to tell it in a minute. There was nothing Swalwell could do to convince her, but there's millions of people that see this clip, and I just think that sometimes I think politicians are afraid to talk about this, and he needs a better answer.
Hi, how are you? I'm great. Thanks for coming. My name is Tish Hyman. So, I like a lot of things you said earlier. Thank you. So I've been harassed, verbally and assaulted multiple times by men in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym in LA. I've even lost my membership after objecting to one man in the women's locker room who turned out to be a convicted domestic abuser who broke his wife's jaw so badly she needs to have surgery. You're on record.
Now, I think this is the lady that like got thrown out of Gold's Gym. I don't have the whole story on here. I don't know. I'm gonna let's just take it at face value for what it is. I'm sure that there's some she's taking some liberties there, but let's just pretend that this all happened the way that she said it, for argument's sake.
Saying that men in women's locker rooms in sports is a quote, not a thing. Given what's happening on the ground in California, will you now acknowledge that it is in fact a thing? And if elected governor, what would you do to protect women in California from men, including men convicted of violence against women, who can self-identify into any female space under the current law?
All right. So taking aside her story, she said, as governor, what would you do to make sure that men can't just like self-identify as a woman, and especially men who've been convicted of something find their way into a women's space? I think there's a lot of good arguments here. You could say, if you have been convicted of a sex crime, regardless of gender, you are not allowed to go into a gym locker room. That would solve all the problems. What she wants him to say, and what he leaves room for here, is she wants him to say trans people shouldn't be able to use locker rooms. But that's not what she's worried about here, right? She said that people yelled at her in the locker room. Now, if she's going after a trans woman in a locker room and yelling at them and they yell back, I think that that's all fair game. If she's worried about the person who was convicted of violent crimes in the locker room, I don't think gender really matters there, right? Like if you have somebody who's convicted of violent sex crimes, don't put them in a locker room. I just think that like Democrats need to figure out a way, not even figure out a way, but start messaging in a way that doesn't isolate trans people. It doesn't isolate women, doesn't isolate men. Take whatever they tell you and say, here's some solutions we should come up with. I would sign a bill if it passed through the legislation that said, if you are convicted of a sex crime, you cannot, under any circumstances, go in to a gym, changing room, bathroom, locker room. Right? What possible comeback could she have there? Instead,
for 7 years, and where justice was warranted and mercy was warranted, I showed it, and where a stiff punishment was warranted because somebody got hurt, I saw it. And I will not be a governor that tolerates violence against women in our state. Period. That's not going to happen. Now, as it relates to the issue of trans kids, particularly in sports, sure. Yeah, that's wrong. Harassment, yeah. I'm going to protect women. I did as a prosecutor. I will protect women. No woman should be harassed in any locker room. I'm telling you, no woman should be harassed in a locker room. That's a crime. That's a crime. Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't want men harassing you in a women's locker room. That should not happen. I will also say,
it does kind of seem like conservatives think that men are the problem. It does kind of seem like that. It seems like that you think that men are a danger to women. I do agree, but I just think he can word that a little differently. It's just, I don't know how much of an issue that's going to be in the next presidential election. But if Republicans run it back the same way that they did, and we don't have good answers for this stuff, we'd lose. Like, I don't think sometimes we realize how big of a deal it is to lose a public argument for undecided voters, or for people that are on the fence, or for people that are like, yeah, maybe I'll vote for this person, or maybe I'll stay home. It is a bigger deal. Like, debating matters. If you can't win these, if you can't win these arguments, like now she's standing up, she's grandstanding. And what was her issue? Her issue is that there was somebody in her locker room that probably shouldn't be there. I think we can address that a little bit better. Anyways, I'll end that with Eric Swalwell. Let me read here. Wasn't me, said Hassan is a very good human, and welcome back. That was from earlier, I assume. Denise said for being gone. Thank you. We got that fixed, Denise. I appreciate that. Pamela said, fuck Trump and happy birthday. That's a double win. Brother Bob said, thanks for coming back from Mexico. I'm sure you would have stayed if you could. Missed you guys, Brother Bob. I miss my daughter way too much to stay in Mexico. But if she would have been there, yeah, I might have stayed through Thanksgiving. We were doing that. All right. Last thing I think we'll cover, and then, well, maybe we'll have some time, but maybe the last thing we're covering is this ad that really got under Trump's skin. And I'll admit, like, I was surprised. I had a conversation with Admir last night. We'll have a conversation again just about this specific issue. But Republicans are incredible at taking something that happened, that we all watched happen, and changing what happened so that they can get upset about it. And this ad is the perfect example.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly. Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy. Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay. So 4 times they said you can refuse illegal orders. 4 times. The entire point of that ad is not you can refuse any orders. You can refuse orders you don't like. You can refuse orders because they're Trump. But you can refuse, and you should, and you are obligated to refuse illegal orders. That's what they said, right? Am I wrong about that? Did they ever say anything about legal orders? Did I miss that in there? I've watched it a bunch of times, but I don't think they said that. And yet, the crybaby bitch fest that is every single group on the right, it is just crybaby bitch fest all fucking day. They just change what it says so they can go and complain. And here's Pete Hegseth, maybe the biggest crybaby bitch that there has ever been.
Breaking news, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is threatening to court-martial Democratic Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona. The Pentagon says they've received allegations of misconduct against the retired Navy captain, but made no mention of the...
I'm going to court-martial him because he said don't refuse illegal orders. Oh, we've got some conduct that we're going to court-martial him for. Count one more thing that they'll never do. They're just going to threaten people because it's the same pattern every time. I got under their skin a little bit. The MAGA folks, they're mad here. You're all bitches. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to say this in a nicer way. Every person you voted for and every one of you is a bitch. All you do is cry. You cry about things that aren't even real. Like this. It is the law that you refuse an illegal order. That's the law. They said that, and you're like, they said to disobey Trump. You're all just crybaby bitches. And now that they said disobey illegal, or you can refuse illegal orders, now Pete Hegseth's like, we're going to bring them in. We're going to court-martial them. How'd that go for James Comey? How'd that go for Letitia James? You guys never have anything. None of this ever works out for you. It's just the threat.
The nature of it. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is following all these developments. And Natasha, thanks for being with us. I understand that this threat comes, of course, after the senator was in a video with other Democrats urging members of the military to disobey unlawful orders. Natasha, what more do we know about what they're alleging is a threat?
Yeah, Audie, this appears to all stem from that video that Senator Kelly made with other Democrats.
That's right. Tried with General Milley. That's right. Nothing happened there, too. Empty threats by a, by the way, for all of you guys who hate gender affirming care, this guy shows up and does, before he goes to work every day, does like 3 hours of makeup to go lead the military. What a man.
Democratic lawmakers urging service members to remember that they have a duty to disobey illegal orders. And the Department of Defense, which now calls itself the Department of War, they posted a statement on X saying that they have received serious allegations of misconduct against Captain Mark Kelly. He was a captain when he retired from the U.S. Navy. And they said, importantly, that a thorough review of these allegations has been initiated to determine further actions, which could include recall to active duty for court-martial proceedings or administrative measures. That is extremely serious. And the bottom half of their statement there, it also kind of gets at why they're doing this. They say that, quote, all service members are reminded that they have a legal obligation under the UCMJ to obey lawful orders and that orders are presumed to be lawful. And they said that a service member's personal philosophy does not justify or excuse the disobedience.
That's a crazy thing to say. All service members are reminded they have a legal obligation under the UCMJ to obey lawful orders, fair, and that orders are presumed to be lawful. What if it's unlawful? I don't think it's about philosophy, right? It's just about the law. Like, there's a lot of things that go against my philosophy that are the law. They're talking about the law here, so your personal philosophy doesn't matter. But again, lawful here, again. Lawful. Lawful. They said, am I crazy? What the fuck is wrong with your Secretary of Defense? Can none of them read? Or are they just like bitches?
Of an otherwise lawful order. So just to give viewers a sense of what this is all stemming from, here's a little bit of that clip from last week that really...
No, we didn't do a 20-year illegal war in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was legal under our laws. But I see what you're saying, but like, it was legal. It was approved by Congress. Even then, like, so like the people that went to Iraq and Afghanistan and they were doing something that we all object to, those were lawful orders. So that would be an example of exactly what Hegseth is saying, that like they told people to do things that would be against their philosophy and they had to do them anyways because they were lawful orders. They're not talking about that.
Angered President Trump.
Our laws are clear.
All right, let's show that clip there. Let me get here. This was my favorite part. I don't know if you guys saw this. Probably not, because Byron Donalds, as much as he wants to be a star, is not a star. There's after this video came out and after Trump responded by saying that this was a seditious conspiracy, like telling people to obey the law was sedition, apparently. Then I don't know who the Democrats were. I think he references them. They came out and they responded to Trump and they're like, we're talking about illegal orders. And Byron Donalds stood there on the steps and waited till their press conference was over and he was heckling them. And you'll hear him as this clip starts finishing heckling before he goes in front of the microphones. And I think that that's important when you watch this, that you know that he stood there forever and heckled them until the microphones were free. And then he came in to the microphone. So I'm adding that context because of what he says.
That's BS. That's a bunch of BS you just heard right there.
All right, hear that? That's a bunch of BS you just heard right there. And now the microphones. Do you have a second? Sure. I've just been standing here watching that and heckling. I guess I've got a few minutes now that the microphones are free. He does two things in this that I was on the plane watching this and I laughed out loud.
Go ahead.
Do you have any thoughts on the Department of Interior's proposal to expand oil lease in the Gulf?
Okay. He has two voices. There's two versions of Byron Donalds you're going to see. What he's asked about right here is a tricky one for him, because Trump and this administration, they don't think like that you need to do anything about the environment. Just drill oil wherever the fuck you want, frack, doesn't matter. But the people of Florida disagree. They don't want their coast to have dirty water, and they don't want a bunch of oil rigs on their coast. And so Trump is trying to drill in Florida, and the people of Florida, including the Republicans, are saying no. So they asked Byron Donalds about this, and they're like, well, what are you going to do here? Because you're in opposition. And I want you to just notice the way that he speaks to them when he's asked about a serious policy issue that is going to go in the face of Trump.
Yeah, actually, we're starting to have conversations with the administration about this. My view is we're going to continue to do everything we can to protect the coastline of Florida. This is something where the people of our state, frankly, just don't want oil drilling off of Florida's coast, and so we're going to work with the administration to make sure we continue to protect Florida.
He's bored as fuck, and he knows goddamn well that nobody's going to clip this. He's not going to get any attention for that. You can see it in his face. Fuck, I came in hot. I was talking shit. I was heckling. Now I got to talk about oil. Look how disappointed he is that he's not going to get a clippable clip here. This isn't going to get him on Fox News. Fuck, that's all. That's the only reason I was here.
Are you comfortable with President Trump's comments about Democratic lawmakers saying that they have engaged in seditious behavior?
This bitch comes alive. Watch this. If you thought he was asleep, he just took a bump of clicks. Oh, this is going to get me some clicks. Now watch the energy change here when he gets to defend Donald Trump for saying that these people committed seditious conspiracy.
Stop. They haven't engaged in seditious behavior. That mess you just heard over there about not being intimidated, no, the intimidation came from them when they launched their stupid video that nobody asked for, that nobody was talking about, to try to get clicks and likes.
Clicks and likes. Clicks and likes, huh? That's why you stood there and heckled them and then came down to the reporters and got all sad when you didn't get this question? Wasn't for clicks and likes, was it? He also tells reporters to stop all the time. He won't let them do follow-up questions. This dude is here to fucking monologue.
Actually, a bigger problem that's going on in this building behind me. Everybody wants to be a star now. Everybody wants to be on social media. Everybody wants to be on Fox. Everybody wants to be on CNN or MSNBC, and that's the stunt that they pulled. The president is correct to call it out for what it is, because for them, and I honor their service to the nation before they came to Capitol Hill, but for them to now go out and tell our troops and the members of our intelligence community that it's okay to disobey orders, that's obscene.
Yeah, but that's not what they said, though, right? How's your whole fucking party this goddamn stupid? How's every fucking person? It's 100%. Unless you count Thomas Massey. You guys don't count him anymore. How are they all this fucking stupid? It's the exact opposite of what they said. This is, and by the way, this is what they think of you. Where's Drew? Is Drew still here? They all think you're fucking stupid, just so you know. They all think that you're fucking dumb. And a lot of you are like, oh yeah, they did say that. They did say to not do the lawful orders. Ah! Treason, sedition. They think you're fucking stupid, and then you're like, oh, I am fucking stupid. This must be a message for me. This sounds right. Look how excited. By the way, he's not done. He's going to rant. He's going to be asked another boring question, because I don't want you guys to think that this was just like, oh, he was low energy at first, and then he found his rhythm. Because he's going to be asked another boring question, and you're going to watch him just change. When he gets the opportunity to lie to you dumb motherfuckers, he gets so excited. He's going to clip this. It's going to go out in the campaign emails. He's going to put it up on Twitter, on Instagram. And he's just going to be like, I can say whatever. He's got to go to his friends like, you wouldn't believe this. I can say the exact opposite of the truth, and they'll just fucking believe it. And they'll send me money for it.